but they do operate based on how they think. Parenting has a lot to do with it. Bear in mind, we are human beings. They don't get that reinforcement of having that self-worth and self-love for themselves.
This is the Resilience Hub.
So, welcome back everyone to our channel known as the Resilience Hub. This is where we speak about overcoming life's daily challenges as well as paying attention to our mental and emotional faculty, by extension dealing with trauma. So, welcome again.
I remember the last time we had a conversation, we were talking about self-worth. The topic of self-worth. What do you think self-worth is?
What I think self-worth is the knowing that you are valuable as an individual as you are. That's how you perceive yourself, So you perceive yourself to be someone of value, irrespective of what people think of you, whatever achievement you may have made, whether it be material achievement, it doesn't matter. But without all of that, you know that you are valuable as a person.
You think the average teenager, or let's not say teenager, but the average person, understand what it is? What does it mean to have self-worth?
I don't think the average person understand it.
From your perspective?
From my perspective, no. I don't think them really understand. But they do operate based on how they think. But they don't understand that their thinking affects how they behave.
So what do you think might be the cause of all of that?
Well, one of the things I can say for certain that contributes to that is our background in terms of how we were raised. Parenting has a lot to do with it. That's basically where it starts from, because a lot of us, we don't have that good parenting background. It's either mother only, father only, or in worst case scenario, some children end up being abandoned for whatever reason. So,
is there any situation in your life that you would say that you challenge the love you have for yourself? Is there any situation there where you could look into and say, yo, this is the time when we need to address this?
Yeah, man, definitely. I think it happened after I became a father. I started to really look into myself because I didn't get that kind of love from parents. And then I becoming a father, it puts me in a position to say, yo, I don't want my children to grow up the way I grew up. And I want to instill that self-worth and love inside of them, rather than having them growing up and go through certain trauma that I had to go through. So, after becoming a father, that's where my shift in mindset and perspective started when it comes down to self-worth and love.
So for the average youth, let's go back to the average person. Because you have men, women, them go through things the same.
Yeah.
Is there a way that the average person can figure out if they have like the adequate amount of self-worth?
My advice to that question is people need to take time out with themselves. I think we live in a society where most of us, we have so many distractions, and the distractions, they take precious time away for ourselves and put the attention to things that doesn't really matter. And I think it's a matter of fear to face the things that are inside of us. So we find distractions, to take our attention away from it.
Yeah, you're right. So let's say me as a regular youth now, right? Me notice say I just have a feeling like I not belong in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And we just can't find a group that I belong, and we can't find an environment and we can't function. And we just feel like I'm not moving at all in our life. What do you think might be the cause of that? Is it self-worth or is it other external factors?
Self-worth to some extent, but at the end of the day, where you're going to have that low vibe or low frequency, your mind might go at a dark spot or a dark area, and you feel as if you're alone and nobody else is there to assist you, whether mentally or emotionally. My advice to that person is to find your grounding. What do I mean by that? You can't allow a feeling to determine your self-worth, because there will be times where you feel up here or you feel down here, but that don't change who you are. It doesn't affect your self-worth. So that is something you have to instill in yourself and use that as your anchor for when that time comes and you feel that way. Because a lot of people, them say, oh, why I feel depressed.
Yeah, which is the statement.
Yeah, that is the regular statement,
Yeah.
feel depressed. But you're not depressed. Depression comes now when you stay in that frequency for a long period of time. So you create a habit. So it's the same.
Alright, so you bring up a valid point. Depression. I want to put it in a way where that may talk to the average person. Alright.
Yeah.
So normally people get depressed by a lot of things. A lot of things can cause people to be depressed. But it's like I would say a consistent feeling over time that make you put in a depression.
Yeah.
Right? I really want to put this in a good. I really want it like, alright. It's because in my mind right now I'm thinking about a lot of people I know that just come to me and say, Leon, kind of just feel like I'm depressed and stressed out. And then when you dig deep into it, there's multiple things. Is there ever a point in your life where there has been multiple stab at? Is the stabs at you?
Yeah.
We're pushing a point where you feel like, say, yo, there is no direction but for just curl up in a corner and just cry, or curl up in a corner and just, have you ever been to that point?
Yeah, man, countless of times. Oh, yes, man. A lot of times, man. Even this very moment, this phase of my life, right now, currently as I'm shooting this video, I am somewhat there. Because situations have happened and it brings about a certain result that is not favorable. So naturally you feel as if say, oh, nothing will work out for you.
Yeah.
And it will put you in a certain state that bring about a certain feeling. And as I said before, we're all humans, and I'm not going to act like me not experience these things. I do experience these things on a daily basis. But what is key or what is important is not what happened to you, but is how you react to it. And I think that is one of the things that most people don't pay attention to. They only focus on what happened to them, and their reaction is that them fail. So they might try something and it fail and say, yo, me I fail, me I fail because this never worked. No, that is not the case. You attempted something and it did not work out for you. You fail in that instance. What you should do is learn from it and grow from it.
It's a good point, because I think that there was also a point in my life where it's not a lot, because I grew up on the grounds that my father just said there's no such word as can't.
True.
And at first I thought it meant can't is not in the dictionary. Isn't it? So there's no, so I said cannot, you know. But then when I grew old, I realized that like that whole situation
Yeah.
created a persona that kept going.
Yes.
You know. So my question to you is, for the average person who never get that farmer habit training, that farmer training, you know, that indirect training, how would you tell that person to say, yo, how do you show that person to develop that farmer habit? Because not everybody have it. You have a lot of people, no matter what you tell them, they just give up, you know. That's the end of it, just give up.
Alright, so good question. And me can answer this with certainty. That very person you just described, I am the sitting right there. So yeah. I never have anybody to show me how to think. Or this is the correct way of thinking. This is the mindset you're supposed to have, and you're supposed to love yourself. Me never have any of that. Good. However, your true self inside of you, I gotta give you some leads. There are times when you gotta sit down with yourself and you gotta have this internal conversation. And it gotta bring about a certain wisdom. You probably not understand it fully, but it make you think. And that thinking that it brings about, what comes with it is a certain level of curiosity to understand yourself. And I think from there, it leads you down the rabbit hole of getting to know you as a person. And I think from there, you will begin to find different sources to answering and dealing with issues surrounding yourself.
Makes a lot of sense. So, in closing, right? For everybody,
Yeah.
right? What is your overall take on a person who wants to develop self-worth, like a proper, that's a small plan, and how you think they should go about developing self-worth and how it can actually benefit them on a daily basis, you know?
Well, to develop self-worth, in my own words, first thing you should do is to honor yourself. Meaning, focus on the qualities that you have, the positive qualities, right? You have to reinforce those positive things within yourself. And by reinforcing those things, what is happening is that you tend to focus less on the bad and more on the good. And when you start focusing more on the good and less on the bad, it creates a different kind of thinking in you. You start to, instead of becoming a victim of certain situation, you start to find the good in the bad. You start to come up with solutions to problems. So that is the first thing. Honor yourself. The other thing is, you have to have a growth mindset. What do I mean by that? Every situation that happened to you, there's a seed of lesson inside of it for you to learn from. You have to have that approach to learn from every situation, whether it be bad or good. Because believe me, in most situations that we turn to be bad or misfortune or disappointment, there is a lesson inside of it for you to learn from, right? And two more things. One, you must be consistent in doing this. It's not something you can start today and then 2 more days after you stop. Because at the end of the day, if you never love yourself before and you're learning to love yourself, it is something that you have to do consistently, and it will take some time. You must have perseverance, because remember, you're learning a new habit, you're learning something different. You have to persevere in that, because if you don't, then you're going to fail, and then you're going to go back into that mental prison mindset. So those are my advice as it relates to the question. This is the end of this episode. And as usual, people, like, share, subscribe. But most importantly, I want you to leave your comments and share your story and let me know if this episode resonates with you. Thank you very much. This is the Resilience Hub.